it's Laura Giles. Thanks so much for tuning in to another show. Today I'm talking about the importance of story. Now, Hollywood movies are a big business, and so you might be saying, well, that's pretty obvious. But I'm not talking about that kind of story. That's usually pretty much trash. What I'm talking about is the old folk tales of indigenous cultures. I'm talking about teaching stories. Indigenous cultures used to tell stories to everybody, young and old, as a way of learning. It would be the way of learning about their society, a way of teaching their values, teaching survival skills. And when we see those stories that still exist, to us they look like fairy tales. They look like stories for kids. So I'm going to challenge you to think about that a little bit differently, and hopefully by the end of this you will look at those stories a little bit differently. Okay, so let's use The Wizard of Oz as an example. So Hollywood figured out that there is a formula for success that people just respond to, and it comes from Joseph Campbell, and it's called the hero's journey. So when people follow this hero's journey, which we're doing all the time in our lives, then they tend to have an emotional reaction to it because they can relate to it. It's archetypal, and archetypes are things that exist in all cultures for all times, and that's why we respond to it emotionally. Even if we don't really know why, it moves us because it's our story. So The Wizard of Oz definitely follows the hero's journey, and I won't talk about that in detail because maybe we'll do that in another podcast or video. But so it starts out in the ordinary world, and Wizard of Oz starts out in black and white, and that's kind of how you know it's the ordinary world. It's like, oh, humdrum, it says Kansas, it's flat, it's dry, it's blah. Okay? And then there's the call to adventure. In this case, it's Dorothy with her yearning for somewhere over the rainbow. That's her song. And then she meets with the mentor, who is Glinda, the Good Witch, who gives her the shoes and all of that, tells her all the yellow brick road, all that. Okay? So then it goes on and on and on throughout the hero's journey. You get all the way to the end, and she thinks that she's there. She's in the balloon, she's ready to go, and Toto runs out, and the balloon goes up without her, and that's kind of what happens too at the end. It's like you think you're there, and just, I'm not quite there. And then finally, at the end, she figures out, oh, I had it within me all along to do what I needed to do. And that's how you get to the end of Returning with the Elixir. Okay? All good stories do that, even the simple ones. And another part of thinking about stories differently. So if you look at The Wizard of Oz, you see Dorothy, and she's crying all the time. She's crying in the beginning, oh, my dog, my this, my that, woohoo. And so this crying, her element is the water. And then you have the Tin Man, and he's missing a heart. The word in French for heart is cœur. And heart, of course, is fire. So Tin Man is the fire. And the Cowardly Lion is missing courage. If you saw the podcast on the warrior and courage, you know that his element is earth. And then you have the straw man, Scarecrow, who is lacking in brains, and brains, thought, communication, of course, is air. So you have all four of them, of the elements, are here, and those four elements together equal wholeness. But who's the only one that doesn't have any troubles and who always knows instinctively what to do? You might be like, who is that? I didn't get that part when I was watching that movie. It's Toto. So Toto is the one who bites the witch because he knows she's a bad lady. Or she's a lady at first, but I think he might bite the witch too. And he jumps out of the balloon because he knows that's not the best place to be. So there's a thing within you all the time too, this place inside of you that always knows the truth. And that's Toto. He's at the center. That's your spirit. So those are the kinds of things that you can gain by looking at stories. So what I would do is challenge you to find some old stories. It could be from any tradition. It could be African folk tales. It could be Chinese folk tales. It could be Celtic folk tales. And tell me what you see. Tell me what's different when you look at it in that way. And we'll be bringing you some more on the YouTube channel just to kind of help you out, help you see some lessons in life. And you know what would be really cool? If you watch The Wizard of Oz and say in your comments all the things that you now see differently. And I'll do that too. So I have to find my movie. Gotta go. Bye.